I was muted. Well, anyways, welcome everybody to the new Total War video, the Master Necromancer. It's Heinrich Kimmel, I think his name is. I was hoping for Neferata. She's cool, but I'll take what I can get.
Sega.
I hope this might sound weird, but we know there's going to be more DLC. We know there's going to be more DLC. So what I hope is a Vlad von Karstein DLC. If you're going to give me DLC, give me that. I will not be mad at you.
Necromancers are conniving individuals who've never been happy with their mortal spans, dabbling with dark and forbidden lore in a damned quest for power and a means to escape
Kimmel,
death.
is it?
And so they scour the lands in search of blasphemous tomes that contain the secrets of Nagash. Most necromancers begin their vile careers in seclusion, or even as valued members of society, but once discovered, those not apprehended by the witch hunters may find themselves on the run and inevitably drawn to Sylvania. Vampires see necromancers as willing and pitiful servants, although a few have dared challenge the midnight aristocracy itself for supremacy. However, once in a vampire service, they are more likely damned than not, for vampires are loath to lose a useful minion. Those they no longer have use for may well end up serving in a more zombified state.
Okay, so it's not a Heinrich Kimmel video. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I love that box art. That is good box art. Anyways, we're going to pause this. We're going to move on to the next video because there are several videos out, and this one's only like 1 minute and 40 seconds. So, see you in a couple seconds. Welcome to the second video, Vampire Count's Siege Battle. Let's take a look. This should be good.
Sega.
Hello and welcome to another video for Total War Warhammer. My name is Joey Dalton and I'm joined by Darren McNally, who has already played this Battle of Altdorf.
Yes, so this is a unscripted custom battle. It's a siege.
Oh,
and
it's
I'm
custom
playing
battle.
as the Vampire Counts against the Empire. So we thought we'd just give you an unscripted siege so that you can see exactly how it plays out. I've actually gone for a little bit more troops than normal. I've gone for around 24 and I think the enemy have about 26. So this is Altdorf. It's a beautiful looking city. I've chosen a lovely nice day to show off the units in really good lighting. The new lighting changes have gone in since the preview build, so the game is looking absolutely gorgeous now, and they're still continuing to tweak the lighting and add more lighting environments so that we can get like, more variation out of it. So as you can see, it looks really, really nice.
It's my mom. Well, anyways, back to the video.
It's worth noting that there may be changes from what you see here, but nothing too significant. Magic is something that has also changed slightly. It's stronger than it was before, but we'll talk through that more when we see it happening on the screen. I mean, as we look through Altdorf, the city is massive.
Why are they
Yeah, it stretches on for miles.
That always
the playable
confused me.
area is a little bit smaller than that, but the visual fidelity of the city is still just as good even in the distance. You can have a little zoom in and have a look at it. It looks really, really pretty. But basically we're fighting up against one wall.
I
on
love
one
the
side of the
architecture.
city, and we're going to make a breach through that, and we'll get to that anyway when we're done panning around. I just thought it would be worth showing some of this lovely architecture. It's worth mentioning that I've already played through this battle. We're not live playing it right now. We're commentating over the battle that I played myself. So I just had a little pan around the city to show off some of the fantastic work that our artists have been doing, absolutely down to the finest details. I love this building I'm coming up on here, the skull with the wreath on it. It looks amazing.
There's always skulls in Warhammer, Darren, always.
Yeah, they're embroidered everywhere, literally everywhere.
It means they don't fear death.
So, yeah, it just looks really, really nice, the lighting, the lovely sky details and stuff. It's also worth mentioning we're not playing on the highest graphics, we're playing on roughly around high, not on ultra. We thought we'd tone it down just a little bit so that people could see generally what most people should be able to kind of play as. And
Look at those
also
siege
give you a good
towers.
level of detail. The troops are on the highest detail though. So here we are backing out. These are the siege towers and the zombies there at the back of them.
So there's bones and coffins embedded in their towers. That's some brutal, scary towers right there, I think.
Yeah, it's really nice detail. They're kind of made of like stone muck, and yeah, it's really like it's been pulled out of the ground and just bones and things like that. So it's very, very nice, very cool looking indeed.
There's some dense zombie units here as well.
Just shambling forth, just waiting to take the city.
They're a very slow unit.
It's all about
I
the
mean,
Grave Guard.
When I tend to play myself, I'll push them forward first because they're expendable, very squishy, but they take a while to chew through.
Oh, yeah, Heinrich
Here's
Himmler.
Heinrich.
So
Look at his
here's
skirt.
Heinrich Himmler. I decided to play as this guy because we haven't really showed him off yet too much. His clothes are made of skin.
See the faces
or
and
that
the
cloak,
hands?
That cloak at the front. It's pretty grim.
Stylish.
So something I thought worth mentioning is that he has an augment spell, a kind of constant ability that's always going around himself, called the Curse of Undeath. And that, as you'll see when I'm casting spells, that they'll actually heal troops around him. So any troops that are around him, they automatically get healed when he casts the spell for a short amount of time. Just in case people are wondering why that's going on when you see it. And this is a new addition as well. It's the spell browser. This is an offline kind of mini encyclopedia just for spells, and you can see the different lores of magic, and then the spells that are attributed to those lores. So it's a great way to preview your spells before you go into battle and see what you want to use and what you think might be most relevant.
We'll be looking closer into the spell browser soon, but yeah, I think it's an excellent feature, especially those that are new to both Total War and Warhammer, really, because it's a big addition.
So here we've got some
love
Grave
Grave
Guard.
Guard.
These are pretty good. They're
Armored
shielded,
skeletons
they're
are where it's at.
They're your kind of not high tier but mid tier
got some
sword
good armor.
infantry that can do pretty good damage. And then these are the kind of higher tier version of them, the Grave Guard with great weapons. You can see they're tall, rusted metal swords. They're basically armor piercing troops that are really good, like straight over the walls and stuff like that. Moving on, we have the Skeleton Warriors. These are more your medium to low tier kind of sword infantry.
They're
just your
tar
standard blade
pit.
infantry. They're pretty cool looking. They got glowing skulls and they're really rickety and bony and stuff. So
They're
quite cool.
skeletons, Darren.
They are skeletons. And then, speaking of skeletons, we got more over here. We got the Spearmen variation of the Skeleton Warriors. So obviously these guys are use spears. They're good against like cavalry and anything kind of large.
They're quite fast.
Yeah,
for
they're quite
skeletons.
fast. Yeah, they run pretty quickly. And then behind them we have Crypt Ghouls. These are one of my favorite units. Interesting, it says Cudgel Infantry.
Wow.
That must be the type of weapon that they're using. Basically, they do have poison attacks, and that will slow down your enemy and deal more damage. And they're damage dealers, so they really pack quite the punch.
Do they regenerate?
Similar to the Karn Wraiths.
Yes, these are an ethereal unit. They're floating, so they don't suffer any terrain changes as a result of, well, floating.
Yeah, they completely ignore the terrain, I think.
Scythe infantry.
So yeah, they're pretty cool. They
They
got
cause
massive
terror.
scythe infantry, so that's really cool. Really
that
good
a
against
thing?
armored targets as well, because they have those
Or
shock
scythe
scythes cut
infantry a
through.
thing?
Then over to the cavalry, we have Black Knights. These are one of my favorite units. You'll see during the battle they pack a huge punch when they charge into the enemy. They just look really cool.
I
because
just
even
love
the
the
horses
shields.
are made
Yeah,
of
those
skeletons
are
and things like that.
great.
So yeah, they're
I want
they're
one.
awesome. And then they have the variation, which is the shock variation infantry, or shock cavalry. They have lances. So the Black Knights with lances and barding.
Can you still
so a little bit
yeah, it
more
looks like
armoured
you can
and then
still
pack even
dismount
bigger
them.
punch, and they're very fast.
Pretty
when
awesome.
They move. They get tired kind of quickly though, as we'll see in the battle.
How?
Got some fellbats over here. These are
They're
again kind of
undead.
expendable.
They shouldn't
just
get
a distraction
tired.
tactic. That's typically how I use them, just to kind of slow down any artillery or ranged units that are hammering down on me, because the vampire counts don't have any ranged units. So
Other
it's
than their
difficult
mages?
sometimes
No.
to take heavy fire, especially on one of the opposing races.
Yeah, it literally says they are
Crypt
expendable as well,
horrors.
which is exactly how you should be thinking about them. Very cheap.
Oh, look at these guys.
So these are the Crypt Horrors. Really big, nasty, kind of troll-like monsters.
Oh, they have
Very high weapon
regeneration.
strength.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, and they.
I
Can
got
also
mixed
regenerate.
up, I'm sorry.
So slowly they'll heal over time, and combined with Heinrich Himmler's ability, if you keep them next to him, you can keep them kind of going. Very powerful. Pack quite a punch getting through. So that's basically our entire army. Now I'm just putting different units into the siege towers and kind of placing them around. You do it in the kind of standard way you did it in previous games. You just left-click your infantry, right-click the equipment you want them to use, and then position them as you would a normal unit. So my strategy basically here is, I'm on the right side of the settlement. I could go, approach it from all sides, or approach it from the complete line if I wanted to. But I've decided just to focus on one side.
I like
and really
this style of
cruise through
siege
just
battle
one
where you can
part
only
of the
attack
gate
one
and
side
get
of the
over
wall.
walls.
It's
Something that's really interesting.
I think it's
is that this is
a
a level
much
4
better
city
idea.
settlement, which means that the towers are extremely powerful. As you'll see, they kind of take out. Towers do a lot of damage very quickly, and their range is the complete deployment zone that I have. So basically, if I sit as far back as I can, I'm still going to be in range of their tower.
Right.
So
we can
even
see-
at the furthest point of your deployment
Oh
zone, they can
shit! Here they
still
come.
get you.
Yeah, so you have to make
Oh,
a move for the walls,
direct fucking
as
hit
quick
on
as
the
possible so
tower.
that you have the best chance of getting over.
Darren's top tips.
Those poor who are
Um,
those?
So here we have the crypt. Yeah, taking a lot of damage there.
Oh.
Crypt horrors I've sent running forward. I want them to get over the walls, just put down some ladders and hop over as quickly as possible. Do as much damage straight over. Kind of
They-
cause a huge amount
They have
of disruption.
ladders? Or
You can see
do
the
they
towers
climb?
firing on my towers as they approach the front. The middle one is a little bit more forward, I think, than the others, and it's taking quite a bit of a hit. Already at 43% damage, so
Ooh.
taking a good few hits there.
Oh, it's going to collapse.
And also, my crypt horrors are down to 105 men in the unit. If you pay attention to the
Woo!
UI,
That
you
thing
get
barely
to see a lot of
missed.
different things. The little blue indentations above the unit icons will tell you different.
This is
loads of
fucking
different information,
awesome.
Actually, when you get used to it, such as if they're taking damage, if they're running, if they're walking, if they're being buffed, if they're being debuffed, if they're in combat, if they're winning combat. Huge amount can be gleaned from just a glance.
So I'm a pause player, so that's definitely something that I feel is worth pausing and taking in if you're playing a battle for the first time. Or that tower's gone.
Yeah,
It's
so
gone.
just lost the tower, which is pretty significant when you only have 3. Now I've only 2 ways over the walls quickly, and the rest I'll have to use ladders. My crypt towers were actually, I kind of looked away because the towers went down, but they were accused. The enemy has a witch hunter in here, in the settlement, and they're after casting the spell to accuse them, which is doing a huge amount of damage. It's brought them down to about half strength. They were a little bit damaged because they had taken some tower fire, so now they're down to 50.
So it looks like you're always going to be guaranteed to lose at least one tower, which I like. That's a cool
firing over the
scene.
wall, so I decided to deploy my bats. I'm going to seek them out. They're there in the center. They're next to a mortar as well that's firing.
That's where all
Again,
the fire
like you
came
said,
from
just
over
using
the
them
walls.
as an expendable, just distraction force. I'm just going to send in the bats. They look absolutely amazing as they come in as well. Straight into the town center just to disrupt the enemy and stop them firing. You'll notice that as they fire, they even hit my bats as well. So that should work.
Well, at least it's keeping them occupied for now, so you can kind of focus your efforts on the more immediate issues.
Also, I forgot to mention, the towers can only face fire
Outward.
outwards.
I know
so
that.
Once you
I've
get
read
on
that.
the walls, you're actually relatively safe from them. And if you capture a tower like I have with my crypt towers over there, that tower will stop firing. So now on the right side, it's actually a lot safer for me to be on. So I start shifting some of my focus over that way. And my battering ram now has the should be safe to get to the gate.
Oh dear, they're not doing well.
Yeah, so they got accused again a second time, almost down to 13 men in the unit now, or monstrous infantry. I guess they're not really men, but maybe they were once. I'm
Maybe
not sure.
they were once.
They were one. I
But
think.
basically they're a really, really good unit, and they were completely destroyed just as they got to the walls. So I think in future it's probably best to use your zombies to try and hop over first, and then maybe they'll get.
They
the
are
spells attached to them or
expendable.
something.
I mean,
You've
come
got some
on.
units at the back there. Is that intentional? Are you saving them?
Well, sort of. I don't want the enemy to cast a vortex spell on me and just suddenly wipe out everyone, so I try to keep them spaced out and keep some time. Like the cavalry obviously has no way in at the moment, so I keep them really far back.
So you're going in stages, basically. Once the gates are open, then you're going to pull the rest in.
Yeah, so I've
see.
made a small.
All right, so it looks like the graveyard
even though
are
there's only a few
clearing
guys
up
in that unit, they
cleared
have
up that
captured
side of the tower.
Now I'm getting over the walls with zombies on other sides, and I'm starting to push through. I put my grave guard with the great weapons on the walls to do the
Totally
most
should
damage,
put
and
the
they're holding
zombies
their
in
own
the
quite well
towers.
up there. Taking a bit of damage, and mortar fire is still coming in from the city a little bit now that the bats are dying off. But yeah, it's like I'm making good progress, I think, on the wall. So I decided to cast a hex here. It's the Curse of Years. So basically this hex does minus 24 melee attack, minus 24% speed, and plus 15
so
ability recharge.
Looks like,
So
are those
basically everything
spearmen?
in
They're
that zone
breaking.
of control that you can see on the UI, that blue radius, is going to receive that hex, and that allows my troops to do more damage to them, basically.
Oh, the gate's
The
down.
descriptive text is quite bleak, actually. It says, the wizard spits out an ancient curse, causing his enemies to age at an incredible rate, their hair turning white, and their skin shriveling up. And that's pretty harsh, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. So yeah, they're basically all turning to old men dying, essentially is what's happening there. Also, you'll notice at the gate, the AI has actually completely covered the gate with 2 units, a spear unit and a greatsword infantry unit. Greatswords are immensely powerful units. And I've decided to cast a buff spell to my guys on the walls. They're actually suffering a little bit of crumbling. You can see their flag is there's a red particle effect around it. So I've tried to buff them. I think the spell was Van Hel's Dance Macabre.
Friendly targets are filled with magical energy, making them even more aggressive.
Yeah, so that's 24% speed and 24 melee attack. Obviously, these stats could be completely changed by release. They were still feeling out the balancing of magic at the moment. But it's at a pretty good stage now where you definitely notice the effects.
So Van Hell's Dance Macabre is kind of like, it's a target 1 ally, so I would generally use it on a lord, a legendary lord, or a hero, because
look at
magic
them.
is really
Just,
relative.
it's like
If you're
the
not
Battle
using it for its
of
intended
Minas
purpose, it's
Tirith
not
where the
gonna do much for you.
Olokai just come
And
in and wreck shit.
Ultimately, if you use it for the wrong purpose, it can backfire in a big way.
Yeah,
So
completely.
Undeath Resurgent is one that's kind of a bit more of an AoE, which is it's good for general units, especially kind of all piled in together.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. You'll see me using that a lot later, and it doesn't... The
So
interesting thing about
despite
that
some
one is it
flags
doesn't actually pull
flashing,
from
the
your Winds of
undead
Magic, so you
aren't
just kind of
routing.
get that
So
for
I'm
free.
not.
That
Maybe
is
they
their
have a
kind of
different
thing, is
mechanic.
ability.
I hope they don't route because they
You're
shouldn't
not
have
doing too
morale.
badly here. You're kind of chewing through the wall.
Yeah, it's taken a while. It's definitely a bit of a grind on the walls. We're grinding them down though, and they are using their gunners on the ground to fire up at me constantly. The longer I'm on the walls, the more exposed I am up here, so I need to just kind of get the walls over and done with and get down.
But the gates are open.
The gates are open. My crypt horrors are trying to punch through their spearmen, and it's going to be tough because spearmen are good against large, and I've put large against them, which isn't a good idea. But it'll take a while. They're a pretty powerful unit.
look
They've
so
actually broken
cool,
out, so they've
though.
just gotten into the city a bit more, a bit deeper, basically.
Well, you are taking a lot of fire though, and this is the struggle that I tend to have with the vampire counts, is just the amount of fire that you can take and
Yeah.
to not do much back until you've got your units in there. And with such a mixture of fast and incredibly slow units, you really have to pick and choose what you get in first. Oh, Kemmler's down.
Kemlin's down. I brought him down on the ground now. There's a massive pile of infantry down here, so I thought it would be perfect time to use the Wind of Death. So I've cast it there on this unit. Again, I was hoping that it didn't double back on me, which it doesn't. And it blows, absolutely tears through those units, throws them all around the place.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
some of them
that's
get back up, but a
fucking
lot of them stay down.
beautiful.
Because this unit was basically a fresh unit when I cast the spell. It's not going to kill too many, but it does a huge amount of damage. Then I cast the Hex again, the same one I used before, just to lower their melee attack and their speed, so I can just cut them down before they run back to the city. There's a lot of missile troops there, and that's why I want to slow them down and cut them down before they can get back.
You can nicely see the area of effect it will have there as well.
Yeah, actually I kind of casted it a little bit badly because the area of effect moved forward because I cast it on one unit that ran forward. I should have cast it on the ones that stayed back, and then it would have had a more broad effect. But actually, as they move back, it's slowly taking effect on those guys now. So I was bringing my cavalry into the city now that the gates are open
And
I've
cleared
kind
of
the path, it's
spearmen,
time to bring
looks like.
all my black knights in, bring them around the back of the city, and then cut down like these archer units and these
Handgunners.
these gunners. So my monstrous infantry, the crypt ghouls,
Ooh,
or the
yes.
crypt horrors, are now pushing up on the big unit. I decided to activate the kind of the free ability, essentially. What was it called? Oh yeah, the Undeath Resurgent. Sorry, I'm
yes,
still learning my
the,
lore, of course. Doing that gave me extra speed and extra melee attack for my monsters infantry, just to cut them down and catch up to them really fast as well. So it can be really
Altdorf
powerful when
can't
you
fall
stack
to
them
the
on top of, like, powerful
undead?
units
Where's
like that.
Emperor Karl Franz?
I love its descriptive text. Arise! Do not falter! Do not crumble! Back to life once more.
Yeah, it gives you more leadership. So giving you more leadership will basically mean that you... So leadership is what morale kind of... is what replaced morale for the vamps.
Yes.
So if your leadership reaches 0, then you begin to crumble. And if it goes down really fast, or below 0 by a lot, then you crumble even faster and your units will break apart and die.
It also gives an impressive buff to melee defense as well as melee attack. But
Or
I
I'm
think
glad you
defense is its
explained that,
key
because I was
kind of
concerned.
function there.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a last stand thing.
Yeah.
And the descriptive text basically reinforces that.
Again, learning a lot about the magic laws for each of your races, depending on which you choose for your campaign, is very important because they are each for an intended purpose. So do be careful when you're picking and choosing your magic, which you can do in these skill trees as well.
I noticed that they just caused some sort of casted some sort of hex on Heinrich himself. I think it was actually an accused from the witch hunter.
I see the little
'cause
fucker
his
down
health
there.
has gone down to halfway now, and I mustn't have noticed that at the time actually. But I was going to say, you want to never leave him on his own like that, because Heinrich isn't like a great fighter. He's a wizard. He's kind of meant to stay back, be protected, and cast his spells. He will regenerate over time though, the more he casts spells, so he'll probably be okay. But I've kind of left him out in the open there, and that's something as well you don't want to do too much of.
He's more of a support legendary lord, I would say, than
Yeah.
whereas, you know, Manfred's definitely able to handle his business solo.
He's got like a weapon. Like
Oh,
a
that
sword
was
and another one as well,
that's
basically,
that
so
that looks good.
he's well up for combat. I just wanted to mention these charge impacts are really greatly improved since since previous games. They just look really good. They don't take too much of a run up either. They only need, you know, maybe like 10 or 20 meters, and they suddenly
That's
have this
actually
massive
true.
impact. It's really satisfying to use them.
You can also see there's lots of kind of units rather than going down different streets there as well. But I mean,
That's basically my own fault. I could have taken the different avenues, but we've kind of bunched up a bunch of my troops together. I'm trying to keep them together because they're all about to crumble. Like, that's what that red particle effect around their flags is. So basically I've taken a lot of losses getting over the walls, so I just don't really have the manpower to bring troops around different ways. I tried it with my cavalry. My spearmen are only just getting over now. In fact, they just got cursed or accused again by the witch hunter, but here he is here. I finally found him, and we've engaged him over there. So we should be able to take him out. 2 units versus just a single entity unit like that should do okay. So we're just pushing into the center of the town now. We really have very little left. So I'm just constantly activating these kind of buffs to try and help out my units. We're grinding through with our monstrous infantry.
It looks like they're kicking your ass over there.
My cavalry is now free to push around on the back. Here's a good example of good AI. There's an archer unit and a spear unit, and they send the spear unit forward and the archer unit back. Obviously it's a tiny spear unit at this point, and I actually keep the charge going into the second unit behind it, and the impact stays there. So that's a really nice example of like how cavalry is much more impactful in this game.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Especially vampiric cavalry. They have high charge bonus. It always looks really good. So I freed up the kind of main avenue. All the avenues now are kind of freed up into the city, except for the one big one to the right.
You do look like you're kind of pushing forward into the middle a lot better with your different units. So I think you're kind of damage controlling really well.
Yeah, at this point I was thinking like, okay, I actually might be able to win this. A lot of them are actually running away. There's a couple units left that are a little bit of a high threat.
Wait, at this point, Darren, do you lose?
Well, we'll see.
We will see.
So the witch hunter.
He might have. There's a lot of units down that alleyway.
Damage. He's actually bogged down 2 of my units, which is really annoying. It'd be great if I could bring them here. And constantly we're seeing these UI messages that says a unit has been wiped out. So it doesn't look too good, but I still have hope. The bar is at 50-50.
And
my cavalry's coming into
getting his health back as well.
Yeah, he is. So here's the general of the other army. It's Balthazar Gelt. I never really mentioned him or zoomed in on him, but he did cast some spells from the lore of metal that you might have noticed in the beginning. He cast one on the siege tower early on, actually. So here he is in the center, kind of the rally point for all his troops. And I've put Heinrich directly against him in combat, which probably isn't a good idea, but they are both kind of wizards, not really meant for combat as much. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of comes out on top.
Balthazar.
Oh, Heinrich's health is going down though.
Yeah, he is. It's quite low. Not gonna lie. The green VFX, you can see every time you cast a spell they're healing, but the red VFX is the crumbling mechanic, so it's really an all-out ditch effort to try and like see if we can just if I could kill Balthazar, I think I could win. But the Demigryph Knights are surrounding me as well, and they're after throwing Heinrich on the ground. And I've activated one more Undeath Resurgence just to buff everybody. You can just see all the magic that's kicking off at the moment. Balthazar is activating his spells as well.
He's gone.
And unfortunately Heinrich goes down.
Look how quickly the crumble takes effect there.
And as soon as he goes down, the whole army completely crumbles, and that's it. So it was very close in the end. It was a valiant defeat.
But it was valiant, Darren.
It was. We got right to the center, but we just couldn't pull it off in the end.
So that was
Altdorf has held!
I think you did pretty well.
The
it was
Empire!
A valiant defeat, but it was still valiant.
Victorious!
Yeah, so it was quite close. I could have done a few things to help. I think losing a siege tower early on was a bit disappointing. I think maybe bring the bats up to kind of soak up some of the fire is probably what I'd do next time, or maybe make sure the crypt ghouls get over the walls this time.
Yeah, you did kind of slay them.
So there's a few things
you
I
weren't micromanaging very good.
Gone down some different streets to kind of approach from different angles as well.
Any units you would have changed?
Well, it would always be nice to get like, Vargeists or a Vargulf in there, but I thought, we'd go for kind of more earlier units to kind of balance it out a little bit more and just see how it goes. I had one monstrous unit, and I kind of paid the same for both armies in terms of gold, so it was quite balanced. I just couldn't do it.
Just couldn't do it.
Well, the thing is, you were besieging, so even if you spent the exact same amount and you evened the armies out, they're going to have the advantage because of towers and walls. So I like that. That was a good that was good. It wasn't like the Siege of Carthage where it was like an in-engine trailer. It was actual gameplay that we could see. So that was pretty awesome. There are a few more videos I'm going to check out, so I'll end this video here. See you guys later.